What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Carbonite Bounty BS with me and the nerds here. How's everybody doing?
Woo!
Awesome. Yo, keeping it real.
Good, man.
They haven't canceled us yet.
No, we're not canceled. Just like every other sport, because it's a sport. Subs here, no postponements. So we're all good. Glad to be back with you guys.
COVID ain't got us yet.
Nah, man, we're hanging in strong.
On that wood.
Yeah.
Not yet. Wait till 3 months from now.
We don't want to go to talk about the Zeta variant. We're going to end up
Right.
with
Zeta variant.
in the spring.
Zeta Jones variant.
The
Super sultry. It comes in and just like sneaks up on you.
The Unicron variant.
Yeah.
The unicorn.
Yeah, they're gonna start naming after Transformers. Voltron. But yeah, guys, it's glad to be back here. And I know everybody who's watching us live and listening. We have the official. We're under 5 hours here before the Boba Fett comes out. So I know a lot of you guys are up. Red Bull up. Monster, whatever you drink to stay up. But yeah, I know a lot of people are patiently anticipating that to drop this morning. So
and it's only going 20 minutes long.
It's probably, man, they'll mug me off if they do that. The runtime will be like 30 minutes. It'll be some crazy cliffhanger. They're going to tease us. It's going to be a crazy cliffhanger, like a 30-minute episode. You're going to want more, and then we got to sit here and wait for another 7 days.
Yeah, it's gonna get to the end. He's gonna be like, and that's what I meant to Jedi.
50 minutes. At least 50 minutes. Come on.
They're not. They're going to hit us with something crazy because that's how they are, and then we'll be thirsting for more. And that's why we're here for you guys, obviously. So, like I said, great to be back. Just real quick before we get going here and introduce the channel once again. Sad we lost another legend today. A little bit ago, John Madden. On a different note, it just passed. And for all us nerds, and Nerdcyclopedia, he even had a special place in all our hearts. I remember some legendary battles we had. I had playing Madden. It kind of taught me, gave you rough skin. I think growing up as a '80s baby, you learn your lesson. If you aren't good on the sticks, you aren't good at video games. You got 21, you might not play again for the day. So you had to get tough skin with cousins, brothers, uncles, sisters, nieces, nephews. If you weren't good on the video games, and Madden was like a proving ground, at least in my family. So. It was Madden, and it became, the Mortal Kombat, the Tekkens. But, yeah, it's crazy. That just happened. I saw that not too long ago. So, our condolences from Carbonite Bounty BS. And, hope everybody else is okay still and everybody's safe.
Yeah, and he was a legend. I remember before, the video games came out, he was already a legend in like the as a color commentator. Right. Him and Pat Summerall, there was just some great, he called some great games. You always remember his turducken during Thanksgiving, on Fox. It was he was a very, very, very great man, great legend.
And what he did for video games for me is like, it was the first time there was a video game that I had to buy the new one when it came out. I had to buy it, whether I was going to play the shit out of it or not. I had to buy it because it was a great franchise and you had to own it. And you wanted to see who was on it, who was on the cover, and I bought two of the ones with what was it? There was the one with Cower was on it. I bought two of those. That was on Xbox. I mean, he built that into the video game industry. I think it helped a lot with the rest of the franchises we nerd out now.
Yep.
I think Madden also said, it's not just football. It's not just like video games. It's that he set the standard for a funded experience where you knew every single year these people, which is everybody that bought Madden. So all of us, because I played it, everybody played it. It's the NFL game. But it was funded. You knew you were going to sell X amount of copies every single year. So you could just make it. And that allowed them to experiment, that allowed them to innovate, that allowed them to push the envelope. And then once they defeated all their competition, it allowed them to stop. So it was, it's a story of Monopoly, really, like everything else. A pyramid scheme story, as we often tell on Carbonite Bounty BS. But let's not forget that, what John Madden did culturally in the NFL was he kept it grounded. John Madden is not some cerebral guy. I mean, his catchphrase was boom. That's it. And what more is there to say but boom? As someone who played an offensive line position in high school, I always appreciated John Madden's very blue collar, very gritty and tough take on football.
Are you talking about your days at Polk High?
At Polk High, I used to score. Let me tell you about when I used to score the touchdowns at Polk High. Speaking from inside the game in West Virginia high school football, inside.
Yes,
I know.
Definitely fun memories. But yeah, definitely, Mr. Madden. But yeah, guys, before we dive right in, of course, as customary, as always, like we do every week, DP, hit us up and let us know where to find us.
Nerdcyclopedia.com. People, make sure that you are going to that site, finding all our links. We are on social media at Nerdcyclopedia on Twitter, Facebook, and also on Instagram. Make sure that if you are watching us on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe link and also hit that notification link. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you are on Facebook, we have our Facebook Live, and we also have our Facebook group, Carbonite Bounty BS, a Star Wars group. We love your interaction and also love your feedback. And shout outs to Thomas Hastings all the time. He comes with the favorite memes and stuff. So he's all good with that.
And I have to address this. There was a kerfluffle on the board this week about whether or not episode 7 is worth anything. And at the time, he correctly identified that it wasn't. And I disagreed. And I do want to say that he is right that nothing they didn't pay off a lot of the stuff they brought up there. But I think that really is wrapped up in the failures of episode 8 and 9 more than the failures of episode 7, just because they weren't able to correctly pay off all the stuff they set up in episode 7.
That's if you watch it in a vacuum,
That's correct.
Like that. If you watch it if you remember how it came out, I just remember I like the movie as what it was. Now, when 8 and 9 came out and those things didn't pay off, of course you look at it in hindsight. It's just the way the story unfolded like that. And what you expect in a trilogy, especially if they set it up to where it was going to be a continuation, then that it just made a failure of the whole shebang there. But
the sins of our fathers, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got a question. Before we even get into the stuff we're going to talk about, I'm going to drop this down here. And this is my thought. Ready?
Uh-oh.
All right, sorry.
Lots
of typos.
Live question, guys. Here we go.
Is a sequel trilogy a trilogy?
I know what you're thinking. This is like an asshole question, but it's not. But it's not. My posit is this: with our dissatisfaction with these movies, 7, 8, and 9, lies purely in our expectations of them to fulfill the story arc places that we normally expect to be in a trilogy. And because these movies are not structured in that way, there's no way that they'll be satisfactory if we think of them as a trilogy.
Yeah, and I think so. Star Wars trilogy was 4, 5, 6. When they came out with 1, 2, 3, the concept of a trilogy went away for me, because now it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's a thing. It's an epic.
Right. Or what is it? An anthology almost now at that point.
Yeah, so you just throw that trilogy word right out the window. I mean, I like the prequel and the sequel. I like that, but trilogy, and yes. So Force Awakens, I was super excited to see it. I think it could have been a bunch of Girl Scouts flipping flapjacks at a campsite somewhere called Crystal Lake for 2.5 hours, and I probably still would have liked it because the hype was there, and I was excited. There hadn't been a Star Wars film, like a real Star Wars film. I mean, there was all the Rebels and Clone Wars and all this stuff that they were filling in, but there hadn't been a Star Wars film in, I don't know, 20 years? or more. So I mean, this was legit. You know, it was like really real. And but I get it. I get the question, Hitch. I understand, but I think trilogy should just be thrown out the window. You can't.
So your answer is no. Next. No.
Yeah.
You're talking about like episodes in the story, so I definitely get what Ken is saying. You know, episodes in the story when after the first trilogy, you had the prequels come out. I mean, some people dub it as prequel trilogy because it was only 3 of them. But in the same instance, like Ken was saying, I mean, they become a thing, you know, at that point, you know, parts of a story. So you got the first part of the story. You've already told the middle part of the story. And what we thought we were going to get was like the final part of the story with 7, 8, 9. I mean, it begins to be a thing of episodes.
Yep. Which we didn't get.
No.
Yeah, we got three different stories. That's cool because, you know, we have the so what's next, because we have 10, 11, 12 coming. So what is that going to be named?
Who knows? And I hope they don't.
For sure. That's coming. Come on, man, it's coming.
Look,
the
hottest time
is Scream is back. What the hell is that? I was like,
Scream is everything in the 90s is new in the 20s, man.
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
It's a 30-year cycle, just like how everything in the 90s was about the 60s and everything.
But it's not even a prequel though. It's like a new chapter. Like
it's just extra bony faced. That's pretty much.
Don't even like the whole. If they want to market it as like a new trilogy, I think that's just the wrong. We already got like the Disney Plus content to tide us over. Just make another episode.
Exactly. I think that's where I'm at as well.
Don't even call it an episode. Just make another Star Wars film if that's what you want. You know.
DP, I'm fine where you said it. Just say episode 10 if you're going to make episode 10. Episode 11. Don't announce it as a trilogy. Don't announce it as a sequel or a series. Just make the episodes if you're going to do it.
Yeah. We already know there's going to be more after that, but just call the next episode in the chapter. Yeah.
So you're saying that instead so we are discarding the like constructed simulacrum of a serial series that goes on ad infinitum, which is what George Lucas was doing, was trying to replicate that in a movie setting, and simply saying, this is now literally a serial series ad infinitum, right? So it's literally become the thing that it was originally purporting to be, which is a very postmodern thing to have happened, and very interesting in my opinion because of that. And that makes it only interesting to me. And so we're done talking about it.
All right, on to the next thing.
We're done. All right, you're right. This was stupid. I'm sorry for doing this to the show. My bad, guys.
Fun. It's a fun sidebar, but
I was feeling my oats on the banners. Wow. I gotta quit that.
No, we'd enjoy it, and it's something fun for all our listeners and viewers to interact with as well. So we'll start with you then, Mr. Banners. What was your initial thoughts of this run here as we get going?
All right, so anytime I get Hondo, I'm always happy. I love Hondo. Hondo's my favorite side dude, the side character they have on this show. I love space pirates. It's probably one of the reasons I like Han Solo so much. And so this was such a great dirty job that they had to do with him, and that was my favorite episode, just because pointing out that he only committed lies of omission is a funny thing, because it really makes you think, because that you should really consider that he's a pirate. He's a pirate. So if he's only telling you a lie of omission, I mean, really, that's not so bad when you really think about it. So I really enjoyed that particular episode amongst the other episodes that I thought were good, including the whole, what was that, Iron Squadron or whatever episode, where they were using, we were talking about truck nuts on the Millennium Falcon last week.
Yeah, it was.
That's how they would use them. They would use them exactly like that. Bam! Just drop it right on people's face. Listen, I'm not saying that we're going to see this. I'm just saying that it's almost like we're predicting things, and Disney is creating them in our wake.
But in the past, because this already happened.
Well, that's correct, because we're talking about things that has already been broadcast. But for us, it seems like it. And we can pretend. But anyway, I like this set of episodes, and I didn't even talk about maybe the coolest thing that even happened in these episodes. So I'll leave that to you guys.
Man, What about you, DP? I know that was your big thing, so let's you open it up with us.
Anytime we get the good, hold it up, Ken. Hold it up.
Bring it out.
Bring it out.
Yeah.
Anytime we get the Darksaber, I am. Oh man, that's such a beautiful, lovely little thing right there. Yeah. So yeah, this was a really good set of episodes. I like the episode before that, the robot guy and the way he was just reacting to Zed and what's the Zapper Chopper. And Chopper and everything, he was just cracking me up, his deadpan and smart aleck, comments and everything. But yeah, the Darksaber episode was my favorite thing. We got some history of it, where it came from, and Sabine. It was a really great character episode for her. Man, she we know she has history with the Mandalorian. She's really feeling some type of way about her parents and everything. And we got her training, Kanan training her and having him develop her, pushing her, to the point where she's accepting the fact that she's going to have to wield this blade, this saber, to help out, with leading, the rebels and everything, helping out, combat the Empire and stuff. But it was a great character episode just for her, and I love the fact of her and Kanan just going at it, him training her back and forth. It was a really good. Besides that, it was a really good set of episodes, really emotional for us all.
What about you, Ken?
I second that, DP. In fact, I was going to say that those two episodes, the last two, 14 and 15, were my favorite. I love the training, and the whole vibe of the episode was so. It reminded me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So the music in the background, the Kodo drums that they were using to sort of demonstrate the primal, very earthy vibe that was going on between Kanan and Sabine. They were really getting down into the dirt, fighting with sticks. I already know how to fight with a stick. Not like this, you don't. Not like this. And it's more than the stick. You can't. The stick is not just. It's just a part of it. It's got to be you. And the way you saw her actually begin to use her emotions to transition into that fighter. And a lot of stuff, I guess they'd have exposed a lot of that before with her background, but I learned a lot from that episode about where she came from and what she was doing, and how she regretted her decisions that she made, and how that caused this rift between her and her family, which now she needs to bring back. And damn it, Ezra, what a genius, right? And what was the Mandalorian's name? There in that episode.
I forgot his name, but yeah, I know you referring to.
So he put it all together, right? So family, this family will never leave you. And that's basically Star Wars, right? It's knowing who you can gather around you to give you strength.
Right.
And move you along on your path. And it was, that episode alone, I wish that was 2 hours long, because there was so much good stuff in there with her training and the different conflicts that were going on between her and herself, and it's just really good. I love Rebels more than I like Clone Wars. I think Rebels is a much more solid series in the way they develop things, and that's my opinion. But that the last couple episodes were just legit.
Definitely a lot more character driven.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And then, like I said, we discussed this multiple times. The way they kind of seamlessly introduce these characters, give them their time, their screen time, but then don't really take away from the main kind of continuum of the whole series, is something that's become like almost a staple with this whole kind of Favreau Filoni verse, you want to call it. They do a really good job of the runtime of these episodes, giving them enough, not really giving us. Think about it. There aren't too many filler, I would say, episodes in Rebels that we seen, and we were kind of like, it's filler. They do a pretty good job of the pacing and keeping you kind of in tune with these. One final piece I like to pick up on as far as the introduction is how about We had early on, Ezra's pull from the old master and his kind of journey is, these trials almost, of a young Jedi. I guess we'll call him a Jedi Knight at this point. And that pull to the dark side. It's just kind of like we keep talking about it. That kind of parallel to Anakin's story, and you see, we always talk about what ifs. What if Anakin did this? What if Anakin did that? And it kind of seems like Ezra's answering a lot of those questions we would have on a lot of our what if scenarios, and how he goes about dealing, with the pull of the dark. And it's weird because I see a lot of Qui-Gon and Kanan. So to me, it's kind of like Kanan and Ezra, and then you don't want to bring it in, but this latest whatever the last sequel, this last sequel trilogy, and how they kind of viewed Rey, and it's more of this kind of whole like gray Jedi theme when you see that how Kanan and Ezra act, how you see Ahsoka act. It's not really and obviously with the order kind of being defunct, it just lets you know kind of where maybe people view the Jedi. And, we'll get on this another podcast, and really the failings of the order and the council and where it went. Because, I really like how Kanan has taught him how they handle themselves as Jedis. And I kind of like the story on how, they go about their business in space rather than kind of being a militarized unit, which we saw in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with this series, you get a lot of the Empire stuff so far on the peripheral. Everything is happening to these guys, to the rebels and stuff.
Right.
We keep everything contained inside of the world of the rebels. Whereas like the Clone Wars, we sort of got sides of stuff. We got like the Empire side, we got like Palpatine side. We get Anakin's world and all that. It was a lot of worlds and a lot of different perspectives that we get, whereas Rebels is specifically concentrated on these set of people, and their adventures together, and what happens and what was happening on the outside outside of them. As far as the Empire, they're battling the Empire through like their different trials and stuff, but the camera always keeps on them. It doesn't cross over. Sure, we're getting like Thrawn right now and everything, but still we're getting a lot more. We're getting like the Sabine. We're getting like Kanan going through his thing with being blind and everything. Ezra's maturing. Going through his stuff and everything. Whereas a lot of the first season focused on him. We're getting a lot more development with the characters of Zed. His development and everything. I'm just loving like the character development. And I think what Ken was saying is still Star Wars. It's such a great thing that these storylines still find a way to circle back to what the essence of Star Wars was. Having a family around you, having teachable type moments and stuff. Knowing when you're getting down and when you're doubting yourself, it's still coming back to those to that level of teaching, which I'm kind of wondering how these future TV shows are going to be in the future. Those that are not being run by Filoni, and also like how the future Star Wars, because I think that's something that you just can't lose track of because it's the foundation and it makes for such great character stories within this world.
Yeah, and kind of as you alluded to, as the end, as we hear, Sabine's kind of trial on, taking on the Darksaber, and it's that old hero adage that we got, in the Hawkeye, with great power comes great responsibility. That's an overbearing theme in Star Wars, just like every kind of sci-fi nerdism that we kind of cover. It's that same tagline that comes with, that kind of conflict between people. When you get the power, how are you able to handle it? Is it going to consume you? We've seen it, in Clone Wars when we saw Tar Vizsla and what happened in, the Darksaber at other points. So it's nice to see. And we even seen in the end of Mandalorian there, what's going to happen with, Mando himself. So it's then we don't know what he's going to do, how he's going to react to it. So it's interesting as we laid the groundwork, as we started, our watch-alongs, and we went to Clone Wars, we did The Mandalorian, and it's just so seamless. That's the crazy thing, we talk about the Marvel net. This net, this fabric net they're making, it's so seamless anymore that literally, as we head into tonight, I'm sure we're going to watch tonight and be like, oh, wow, this was in Rebels. This was in – I just like how this is all tying together. Yeah. A lot of loose ends.
If any, and this is just obviously because I have not seen any of the rest of this series. If any of the characters in Rebels showed up in Boba Fett, I would not be shocked. I'd be like, okay, like that makes sense. You know what I mean? And when you think about it, it's like 15 years or something like that. I think it's 9 ABY is Book of Boba Fett, and this is 6 BBY, right? So 15 years. Yeah. Ezra would be 30-ish, 35. I mean, these are just regular adult ages, right? Where you can expect, unless something happens, then they'll be around. So it wouldn't be surprising, and it would make a lot of sense. And it's crazy to me that, the quality of this stuff is making it so that period is the hottest period in Star Wars. It's the day of Order 66 and the day at the end when Luke Skywalker rescued Grogu. Those setting-wise are the hottest 2 days where you want to set your stories around in Star Wars right now. And 2 years ago, we were talking about Rise of Skywalker maybe being a course correction that was going to save this franchise, right? Ha! To quote a Pittsburgh celebrity. So this show accomplishes a lot of that stuff, and it does it on a micro scale, whereas Clone Wars did it on a macro scale, the operatic scale, right? So like on Clone Wars, it's like, Anakin, you are going to destroy this planet and its capacity to manufacture shield generators. And in Rebels, it's like, steal a shield generator. You know what I mean? Like it's just like a totally different thing.
The bombs go first.
Right. Get the bombs on we're going to steal these 4 bombs. And the guy is like, I just want to be paid. You got to pay me. It's like, anyway, we haven't even talked about there was a whole Darth Maul episode in this where he just shows up and he's like, you've got to come with me, buddy. We're going to, you know what I mean? Just yanks him across, back to Dathomir, right?
Yeah, that was the thing with with Ezra, and it's just like it's crazy. This kid's pull with the resilience, because as we go back, I don't think that Anakin does this, based on what he's went through in his life. I mean, essentially, Ezra's parents are they abandoned the guy, right? So he's just figuring out life as a young teen, on his own. Kind of like Rey, hoping that I guess they come back for him. Like I said, the parallels on the character and how they wrote things. It's kind of it's interesting. You see a little bit of everybody in him, which makes it the storylines. But then you see how refined he is, and like as we said, you don't want to take it away from this this review of the set. But the more you watch this, it just makes you wonder, like when you watch that whatever we're gonna call a sequel trilogy, like how do you leave these holes? You know what I mean? Like the way they tie this character up, how do you do that?
How did they mess that up so bad?
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. The more we watch these, how
we're gonna call those movies products of the times they were created in, which is before the pandemic, a big, loud, clanging, busy society that was, basically hubristic, enormous, and did not take the measures necessary to protect itself in the case of something going wrong, right? Something went wrong when they were making those movies, and they couldn't make the movies they wanted. And then instead of having a backup plan, they just sort of ad hoc'd a bunch of stuff together. And that's what we're going to say about those movies, I think, as time goes on. The same way we're going to call, and we talk about this stuff when we talked about episode 2 and episode 3, right? How those movies came out during the post 9/11 panic. Like they came out that year as episode 2 came out. And you can feel the mark, the stamp of that time on, right on top of those movies. Like you can feel that. Like Anakin says, we should just kill all the terrorists. I mean, for everyone that was around, that was pretty common sentiment back then. You know what I mean? Yeah. We were like sort of in a different mindset as a country. And you can say that about the Star Wars from the 70s, right? The shaggy haircuts are a thing in Star Wars, right? There's things that anchor, the style and what Star Wars is to the times in which it's created. And I think that ultimately that's what we're going to say about the sequel trilogy is it didn't have the heart because it was created in a heartless time.
Right.
Heartless. Heartless is a word
It is.
It's also a song by Kanye West.
I would consider it being a cash grab.
I was about to say it's
a cash grab.
Define it in those terms. Yes, it's a cash grab. Where if what you're trying to say is heartless is okay, it had no type of emotional depth. It had no type of emotional anchors, what you were referring to. You know, those movies were absolutely a product of their time, but it's almost like a no excuse type of thing because I could see if Rebels and Clone Wars were made after the sequel trilogies and everything, but they were made before, so you already had your foundation during for the
during. I mean, this came out. These episodes we're looking at now were fall of 16. 9. Right, this is fall of 16, and 9 was so this would have been before episode 8 because 8 was 17, right? Because that's 17, 19, and 15. I think of those. So this came out after episode 7, but before episode 8.
So you had those so
in that time period when Justin was wrong, or Thomas was wrong back in those days.
Oh, there we go. We gotta get back on him. So you had these shows already made, and the story foundation for at least a story of how a story could go with tying back and how a story structure should go with the Rebels, especially Rebels and Clone Wars and everything. No excuse why it's almost like they ignored everything that happened on the ground level and decided, okay, we need to just, we don't know what Star Wars is. We really don't know what it is. So let's just put this up there and see if people, let's go for the nostalgia.
I know what you're trying to say, DP. I know you're saying that there was this perfect storyline, this trampoline of great writing and character development that they could have just bounced off of, but they chose to ignore the whole thing like it never happened and built this whole debacle, terrible, hammered story about things that didn't even connect itself to this original environment.
Well, hey guys, keep in mind as well, we're discussing this. These movies, remember, were intended to plan to come out every 2 years, and each movie was rewritten, and I think there was a year and a half delay in one, 2 year delay in episode 9. I mean, you saw the writing on the wall. Delay. You saw the writing on the wall. I mean, it's firing directors. Rewriting scripts.
And it still goes back to what I was saying. Everything was right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying that they should have just hired Filoni to do everything. But what I'm saying is,
you're brilliant. He's a genius.
Yeah, right.
That's what's working out today. Genius. I mean, we're all
everything was right there for them, But they decided, okay, we're going to go about this. We think we know what people want. No, I mean, and like I was saying, with Thomas Hastings on keep shouting them out and everything on our Facebook group and everything. The Force Awakens was a good movie to me. It's the other two movies that came out after that, which didn't tie a lot of stuff back to Force Awakens, that made, in hindsight, the whole thing just look like a mess. And like I said, the powers that be have no excuse because they already had stories there, which even if we ignore Clone Wars and Rebels, you still had the extended universe, of stories and stuff that you could have drawn from and actually maybe adapted, for the most part. Instead of trying to make
already there.
Yeah, already there.
It was already there. You had books with characters and script and you had a great music orchestrator that could just do the whole thing and tie it all together. I mean, they obviously used Williams, but why did they go off book? I guess that was why did they change the format and rogue on the whole thing?
It begs a difference. So okay, you watch those three. And then you're like, so now as where we are currently at reviewing this, so where the hell is Ezra at? Where is Ahsoka at? Those are the questions now.
Chopper.
Because if you read, Chopper. I mean, if you read the novelization, it doesn't confirm that Ezra is dead because you didn't hear his voice. I read the book and they list all the voice of the dead Jedi. So Ezra's name wasn't in the book. Ahsoka's name wasn't in the book. So that means they're alive.
So if I could only imagine being a hardcore Star Wars fan and these movies come out and nothing is addressed from anything from Rebels, Clone Wars, anything, and you were being told that I remember Tony, because Tony was on our podcast before you guys, when he first heard that the extended universe, like the books and all that stuff, was going to be thrown out. He was like, "What? None of that stuff counts anymore. I invested all this time and energy. None of it matters. Only just like the shows and like the movies and stuff. That it's sort of like you threw your hands up there. But if I was like a fan watching this like diligently, the Clone Wars, Rebels, and then started watching like the Force Awakens, Last Jedi, I would be an upset character. I mean, I would be just like, what is going on here? I mean, at least something needs to be, addressed with stuff that's happening on a so-called ground level to me.
I mean, but this all goes back to Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, look at the money you put into Abrams, Rian Johnson, and then Colin Trevorrow. You paid him off, and then you brought Abrams back, and you literally had your star right under your nose, because he was still the background. He was still one of the pips. He wasn't Gladys Knight yet. He's still in the credits of the movies as far as Filoni's in there, Favreau's in there, but they were in the background of all this. They weren't. She had two stars sitting there with their mouth shut, who knew everything, was George's apprentice, and now you're kind of seeing like, if she gave the guy a chance, what happens? It's shocking. And as we talk about Rebels, like you just said it, one episode triggered this discussion, and it literally, that episode was 28 to 32 minutes, and triggers a whole discussion on then how does this go so wrong? And it's so wild that a 28-minute segment of a show plummets a whole 3 movies just like that. It's crazy. 28 minutes of writing can do that.
So you still got your casual fan out there. You got your casual fan that knows nothing, like me, knows nothing about Rebels, Clone Wars, nothing, about the TV shows, or even, about like the extended universe stuff. You got that being built off of everything that came with like the prequel stuff, because that was the last stuff that we really seen from like Star Wars, the prequel trilogy and everything. So you're gonna come in this with a fresh perspective. We're bringing in new fans, we're bringing in new, characters and everything, all things brand new, but yet we're still gonna bring those old characters back. Let's get the Han Solo, let's get Skywalker, let's get Leia back. Let's get all them back so we can still have our cake and eat it too. They're teaching the younger. But you still needed a solid story to balance all those characters. I'm okay with the nostalgia. I'm okay with bringing all the new, but you still needed a solid.
It has to tie together. It has to tie together. You just can't throw all these ideas at one of those sticky boards and expect it to like work. It's got to make sense, and there has to be a good solid foundation, because as much as some of us, we won't mention names, hate the prequel, specifically Jar Jar. I mean, there were a lot of elements. I mean, you got to admit those movies tied together very nicely, and the way they transition from 3 to 4, but we got to add Rogue One in there. Got to plug Rogue One in there. That all worked great. And even when you start to plug in like Clone Wars and Rebels and all the little snippets that we're looking at now, that last part just like it's like the trucker balls that just fell off the back of the truck. I mean, there's no connection at all.
In my opinion, the moment where Luke Skywalker is in the same shot as Boca Raton, that is.
Does that bring it together for you?
So that is a very important moment in the Star Wars universe, because it ties the cartoons and the Clone Wars era cartoons and Anakin Skywalker to the TV shows. So it's this moment where there were movies and cartoons, and they were sort of different, right? There was TV in the movies, and they were being developed on different tracks, and they were going to go different places. What that instance is this character like synchronization that doesn't just tie Luke back to somebody who's interacted with his father, but ties the entire Star Wars universe to like a nexus point where the cartoons, the TV shows, and the movie characters all have to be in these places in this plot, right? So if this were the EU, if this were 30 years ago, this would be one of the things that gets referred to literally in every single book. Where was this character when this was going on, right? Where was this character when this was going on? And and if you've read those novels, I see the governor shaking his head, nodding his head along, because they would always be like, well, this is where I was during the Battle of Hoth, or oh, well, this is where I was during when the Death Star blew up Alderaan, or
all these
they would
connections, all these things that kept like these memories, these reminiscing, and I remember that battle and this and that, and that all tied everything together.
Oh, I was with you on Yavin 4, and you didn't know, all that sort of crap that they would do.
Even Hobby and Wedge in the last set of Rebels that we watched. I mean, there's little like connections that pull everything together. It's like it's visceral, and you hear it, and you're like, ugh, and you get like.
But it's the combination of the movie character, the cartoon character, and it happening on a TV show, right? It's all of those nexuses coming together makes that one of those anchor points in the timeline, and that is the thing where, let's say the future ends up being multiple choice, like we're seeing being done deftly in many other, in Marvel specifically right now, right? And in DC or wherever everybody else is going multiverse. There's plenty of space and plenty of time between now and the end of the story of Luke Skywalker to put a lot in there. But you can just say, look, it's a different timeline because this is not a timeline where Palpatine was alive anymore. So it changed the past because, his spirit died and it was a fourth dimensional killer, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We can make up a lot of bullshit because the Force isn't real. So it's all magic anyway. And as long as you give me some wizards and someone who has ulterior motives that wants to profit and a bunch of laser beams shooting everywhere, I'm probably going to show up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. But it's interesting to see how it seems that bringing the cartoon sensibilities out into the real world is what the big winner is here. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, that says interesting things about what Star Wars really is, the same way the production of Star Wars now says it's not a set of movie trilogies. It's this big operatic serial. It's almost like a puzzle you're putting together. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Great point.
And the cartoons are a much, much bigger piece than you would think, given, the attention that's paid to them, which is like not a lot, not a lot of attention paid to these cartoons.
The Mandalorian, the success of that made it happen. The way it was written in the same. I mean, watching The Mandalorian, watching Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and Rebels, it's the same feeling. I mean, it's the same. You get the same like emotional feeling that you would get with the live action stuff, and more people watch live action Mandalorian than they did the Rebels. As far as casual folks, I guess, Rebels, and also Clone Wars and Bad Batch and everything. Not to say that it's necessary to watch those, but you just get like just the same type of emotional character energy out of all four of those series. Like we was talking about, Sabine. She could be a live action character right now, and the flow will be just the same. I mean, if she appears in Ahsoka's, she is going to appear in Ahsoka's.
She has to.
She's going to be the same character. Emotional character wise that I would expect from what we're seeing in Rebels right now.
But you kind of just hit the nail on the head though too. So remember, let's take this back 2 years ago. You were a casual fan. So let's just say you watched the sequel trilogy, whatever, the 7, 8, 9, and then you watch these. You're gonna be like, bro, I was robbed at the theater. Blind, right? You just literally said a 28-minute cartoon.
Pretty much what I said.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So that as a casual viewer, like all these other people, like, I mean, you tried to hit an audience, and now, I mean, we're at this point now where these stories, and we on another podcast, shout out to Nerd Psycho, but you get to a point, you do a 10 out of 10 movie like Spider-Man, there's nowhere to go anymore. You know what I mean? We talk about Endgame and that's the be all end all. You get to a point that a 10 out of 10 Ken, you're out. Our expectations are here, just like tonight. I know where my expectations are. In less than 5 hours. My expectations are through the roof. If I don't have 50 minutes, I'm trying to tweet Favreau personally. I need it. I'm staying up till 3 a.m. I need 45, 50 minutes.
My expectations are tempered. I mean, Boba Fett is fine, I mean,
but Boba Fett brings us all together. Like even Ken says, this is the guy that
my expectations are tempered. So when I see something explode in front of my face and everything, I'll just be that much more happy to see it.
They got to explain it right to me, though. I mean, it's got to be built right, because Boba Fett is not the throne sitting guy. He just isn't. So something happened. Something clicked in his mind and changed him, and they got to explain that right to me. I mean, this first episode better have that key in it, or I'm not to watch it, obviously, but he's not that guy. He's not that guy that's going to come out and take off his helmet and sit on this robe with his leg up and bring forth your riches and your taxes. He's like Caesar sitting on that throne. It's like there's got to be something going on, ulterior motive that he's working to for his own gain. So there's got to be something big there, or else it's
this is taking place after the events in Mandalorian, right?
I think
this is
who knows? It could be flashback set. It could be Rashomon. We don't really know.
I think it's before his. I mean, maybe it's right in the same time, because it's after he got out of the Sarlacc pit and he gets his armor back. He gets it rebuilt, and
this would have to be after season 1. This is probably like a 1.5 or whatever, a 2.5. It's like a 2.5 because. So, you're right. He has his armor now. He's back. He's with her as well, which she was shot for dead in the sand as well, like him. So parallel there, right?
So they gotta click that into the right place in our new timeline that we're talking about. But then
which means Din Djarin's in it, right?
Yep. Maybe. I mean, wow.
If we see him, bro, this I'm saying, like this.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Well, here's an interesting question for us. We talk about this. But if Ken will know the answer to this, and that is, how did Boba Fett make his very first appearance? And the answer is in a cartoon, and that cartoon was in the original holiday special. With it was the part without any B. Arthur, so the least sexy part, and it was just Boba Fett in a cartoon, like hunting down Luke and Han, right? So strictly speaking, this is a movie character who debuted in the cartoon, showing up in a TV show. It should be just the nexus of all the things that are now. Exactly. This should be a really great representation of that thing that I've been making up this whole time we've been talking.
Speaking of holiday specials, how do we all get to see the holiday special they came out with last year?
Yes. Yeah, the Lego.
The Lego holiday special.
It was great. I told you guys, y'all got to watch it. You were all like, I'm not watching a holiday special with Legos. I'm not that weird. You have
so much dripping sarcasm and comedy with Ben. And his attitude and everything, and like the two Darth Vaders just going at it. It was hilarity. It was nice.
I love the way they treat Palpatine, man. I love how he's a jerk. It's just so funny.
You know what really tied it together for me though, seeing Lego Palps and then seeing Lego Palps and Spider-Man, it was like it hit differently for me because I kind of laughed when I seen that. For those who know, you see Lego Palps again, so that hit a little different for me. I don't know. Did you catch that, DP?
No, I didn't catch that.
You're joking? At the end, in his,
Oh, guys.
Wow. No, it's not a big point, but yeah, it's like a little figurine. You don't remember it? Wow. It's
no, I got to go back because I must have missed that.
You're gonna have to watch that movie you just said was the greatest movie ever made again. Oh man.
So Lego Emperor Palpatine was in the end of Spider-Man.
All right.
That makes sense.
The stupid Omnicron. Stupid Omnicron keeping me out of the theaters. I can't deal with it, man.
So much sense there. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good good special end of year. Them celebrating at the end and everything. Yoda, he reciting the whole thing there at the end. It was something to see. And a great bow to tie on like the various Star Wars lore and mythology and stuff. I definitely enjoyed it.
I was like watching that show and I was like, where the heck was this crew in the sequel trilogy movies? This crew seems pretty awesome. Like, why didn't we get a movie where they were acting like this? You know what I mean? Like, you know how Empire Strikes Back, they come in, it's like in media res, and they drop you in, and they're like, okay, these guys have been doing this for a while. Like, they're a crew now. They've been doing this. Yeah. Or like how Revenge of the Sith does this really well, right? Where they drop you into the middle of Anakin and Obi-Wan raiding the ship, but you can tell they've been doing this crap for a long time, right? Their relationship's different, and Anakin's more like a little bit more of the doer. And I think that stuff's really awesome when you see it.
How about when they first introduce when Luke Skywalker when they first travel back and we see Luke and him about to try to lift the ship up out of the swamp and everything, and then just like hijinks ensues everywhere, and stuff everywhere, within like them jumping through like different portals of time and stuff. And Palpatine, he's just all set up to just rule, and and he has this big chart of Emperor. Okay, remember I'm the Emperor. This is the chart that you're going to have to go through. In order to, I thought that was just hilarious.
He's got a coffee cup.
Is there a title above Emperor? Oh man, yeah. But yeah, that was a sight to see as far as that. So we're gonna get like these next set of episodes going the last part of season 3.
Yes, we are. We're finishing up here.
Later,
but
not next.
Not next. We're going to be live. In our next set, hopefully you guys join us, so we can actually communicate with you after the episode of Boba Fett. The Boba Fett. I'm Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett.
Yep. That's right. We're going to be right here on our YouTube channel and our Facebook group.
Yep.
And our website, I guess, because that's where those things go.
Yep.
Right.
So we will be in those places, and that will be live tomorrow night at 10.
Right.
So I hope everybody shows up. Damn it.
Definitely. Right.
Either
we can talk about this. And
definitely.
Live shows tend to get numbers.
Yeah. I know T Mitch. He's going to be 3:00 in the morning. He's not even going to sleep now.
I'm gonna take a little nap. I think we're not as young as we used to be, so I need a little nap. Set that alarm. I just wish that.
You sit there like Millhouse with your little watch.
Right. I had to because I stayed up to watch Hawkeye. My first initial reaction when I watched it, I was a little disappointed, but I was asleep, so I had to go back and rewatch it. You stay up all night, you get that little bit of grumpiness. So
your brain is in. This is my thing. So when that happens, it's because your brain is injured. You ever get hit in the head and you just get really mad and you don't know why?
Right.
That's a lizard reaction. So as you don't sleep, if your brain's getting damaged and it's like, hey, rest, I can't keep this stuff together, and you just get angry.
Okay, so maybe you should wait to watch it then later in the day.
No, I'm gonna take a nap and then we're gonna just do it.
Nope, not at all. Nope.
Come on, man. No, after what I just see, but Luke Skywalker at the end of that, come on. That's still chilling. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I remember we bring it back real quick, but that happened. I don't remember sleeping that whole night after that.
That's
I stayed up I think I literally stayed up all night. The TV got people crying. It was emotional for a lot of people. It was crazy.
Let's not forget that I live in a house with a 6-month-old, and so there's a very non-zero chance that I will be awake at 4. So if that happens, I will tell you that is what I will watch while I am feeding / praying for my daughter to fall asleep. But she's pretty good. She doesn't really do that much. So we'll see. Maybe I'll poke her. Let's go and wake her up before.
No,
let's watch
not
Star
if it's sleeping. If it's quiet, let it go.
That's true.
Let it rest.
That's true. I have figured that out. I haven't figured out everything.
Figured that out fast.
Yeah. Like, oh, hey, yeah, I was telling my, we were, we brought G home from the hospital and we were just hanging out and we were both sort of like staring at her like, oh, what's going wrong? What's going wrong? And I've realized like, this is like where we're going to be trying to get. We're going to be trying to get to Jesus sleep like forever. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's enough real world talk.
Yep. But like I said, once again, guys, we're going to come live with our reaction to the Book of Boba, the episode 1 here, and then followed by will we reconvene and discuss the final parts or the ending of season 3 with this wonderful series we call Star Wars Rebels. So like I said, a lot of content coming up for you guys, a lot of stuff planned for the spring. So stay tuned for all our platforms. As DP said, is when we go live, you'll have a notification. So please hit the notification bell if you do watch on YouTube, and for all your streamers, make sure you're keeping in touch with our channel, because we hopefully get a lot of content over these next couple of weeks, out to you guys. So yeah, why not subscribe to us? We sound pretty cool. I hope we seem like pretty cool people. We all have varying opinions, and we're all nerds, so we can be like you guys.
And you can tell that is true just from looking at us. You don't need any other additional credentials. Like we all got that look.
Right. We definitely have the nerd look, I don't have the slushy and the icy in my hand, but it's the Jamie Foxx glasses, the electro glasses, and But yeah, guys, once again, really appreciate everybody coming on, and definitely see you guys here in less than 12 hours, or 24, I should say, to go over this first episode. I wish it was 12, right? How crazy would that be to do a stream in the morning?
Our bosses might get mad. That's all right.
That's all right. We don't sell anything anyways, but it's another story for another day.
Speak for yourself, man. I'm not on that train.
But yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody coming on. And so tomorrow, this is the way.
This is the way.